Welcome to the Podunk Polymath, a podcast dedicated to the sentiments of a secular, sarcastic, screwed-up Southern SJW and skeptic. I'm your host, Chris. Come on in. Welcome to episode 4 of the Podunk Polymath Podcast. Thanks for joining me once again and showing me that, well, at least somebody's listening. I was recently on an episode of the Brainstorm Podcast, so please check that out. It was a live show, but I'm sure they put out some sort of feed afterwards. I, of course, will post it on the page. I actually did post the original event on the page. When the regular copy comes out, or the non-live copy, whatever the fuck you want to call it, comes out, I shall post it on there as well. The pre-ramble, I don't really have a whole lot to say this week on that score. I will say that Colin Kaepernick is still in the news, and he is showing more and more that he is a badass motherfucker, to be quite honest. He has given $1 million to charities that help youth, I believe, and he met with a Green Beret who agrees with him, but they had a conversation, and he agreed that he would kneel instead of just sitting down to show respect for the soldiers, if not necessarily the flag itself. So I thought that was a pretty neat compromise. That's what we need to have, to be honest with you, is a conversation. There's not enough of those. Not enough conversations going on. We're too willing, and that goes for everybody, too willing to just shut other people out without actually having a civil conversation about what we can do to fix problems. And make no mistake, the racial divide in this country, police brutality, all these are issues that need to be addressed and have not been adequately addressed by a long shot in this country's history, I don't think. And so we got to start somewhere. So hopefully this is a good start. I'm adding a little addendum to the podcast last minute here. A story came to my attention via my friend Lucy D about Native Americans protesting a pipeline made by Dakota Access, I believe is the name of it. I'm going to include some links on the show. The company attacked the protesters with dogs and pepper spray, apparently, which is extremely fucked up. This is not the local police, as far as I can understand it. This is apparently the company hiring, I guess, their own security, and they're sicking dogs on them. And let me read what it says. On September 3rd, the Dakota Access Pipeline Company attacked Native Americans with dogs and pepper spray as they protested against the $3.8 billion pipeline's construction. If completed, the pipeline would carry about 500,000 barrels of crude per day from North Dakota's back-end oil field to Illinois. The project has faced months of resistance from the Standing Rock Sioux tribe and members of nearly 100 more tribes from across the U.S. and Canada. And this is from Democracy Now! Was there, and there's video on the page, and there's photos of what's going on. An interview with one of the Native activist Winona LaDuke. Pipeline company Enbridge has no right to destroy our future. There's other stuff on there, so go check that out. Also, Lucy sent me a link about what the pipeline is, where it's going, its path. And Lucy herself told me that a single spill from the pipeline would destroy the watershed in the entire central U.S. just about. She said 86,340 cubic feet per second. That's the flow of the Missouri River, and that could not contain a spill, obviously. And the Energy Transfer pay zero federal tax, state or federal tax. Partners and Energy Transfer partners pay no federal state tax. They admit they aren't financially capable of taking care of anything major, so even if the pipeline ruptured, they aren't monetarily equipped to do anything about it. I'm going to put some, like I said, links up. She also said it would transport as much as 450,000 barrels of oil per day with a future capacity of 570,000 barrels per day. One spill into a body of water with 86,340 cubic feet per second. And then she said 2,526,563 cubic feet of oil will flow through that pipeline. That should scare you, and that's just in a 24-hour period. So I'm going to, like I said, for the third time, sorry, I'm repeating myself, put links up, and I'm going to share other stuff as it comes available. But this is a major issue, and it hasn't gotten much press, although Sean King just shared it, looks like, the story for an update from it. Medics confirmed 6 people bit by dogs total, 12 people treated for pepper spray, up to 30 people were sprayed, and the 12 confirmed were treated. Just talked to a guy with video who is there and says many were misted by the spray too. No signs posted, attack dogs at work, and illegal to use dogs on land not owned by Dakota Access. No ID or verbal warnings. A young girl bit by a dog in hospital now, and another pregnant woman bit on the shoulder. Everyone on frontline pepper spray, including women and children. Keep your eye on this story. This should be a major thing, a major story. We had that problem with the other pipeline, of course, that was coming from Canada that got nixed. But this shit never stops, and the oil companies are always trying to get more shit out of the ground, no matter what the cost. They've got a stranglehold on Congress. We can't get any renewable energy, even though that would be preferable, because we're getting these oil companies are trying to get every fucking thing out of the ground they can, even if it means the death of our fucking civilization. So, yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on this, and I suggest you too. On the palaver, I have with me a couple people that I've known for a while, and we'll be talking about Hillary Clinton. Good, bad, indifferent. Is she the Antichrist, or is she just some person who we don't agree with necessarily on some issue? Stick around and see if you enjoy the palaver, and I hope you'll enjoy the show.
Do you know where Saskatchewan is? Probably not. It's in Canada. If you do, you might know a city named Regina. In Regina, there's a studio, and in that studio there are, at least once a month, a bunch of skeptical atheist geeks and goofballs who get together to do a podcast. We are the Brainstorm crew, and we're trying to help spread a bit of reason and critical thinking while still having fun. Never taking things too seriously, but still not accepting everything we're told. We go through different topics, exploring them in depth and often disagreeing. We try to stick to provable facts, and we never trust a myth. That's why we say we're woo-free since 2013. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, or Spreaker under Brainstorm, or check out our website, brainstormblog.net. I can't promise you'll always agree with us, but I can promise you'll have fun listening to us.
I'm Carly Sturgis, the host of the Token Skeptic Podcast. Since 2006, I've been interviewing people from around the world. Scientists, comedians, artists, and activists. And some of them you might even recognize.
The powers of the placebo are so strong that maybe it's wrong of us to mock.
And we happened to be in London around the time because we were shooting for the war and everything, and we basically made our own little sign, entreating the London commuters to bow down to the Dark Lord Satan, just to try and even out.
Some of them you might like to get to know better after hearing them on the show.
Reading into it, for years I've been interested in the concept of science philosophy and how pseudoscience works. And
it's then very easy for people to just, throw us away and say, well, you don't have a heart, or you're closed-minded, or, and so...
And the origin of the universe and the meaning of life and that kind of thing, because...
it's very real-life music, a lot of real experiences, a lot of vulnerable topics, but at the same time some very silly things, like one song is actually about Windows Vista.
I'm wondering how I can finish this off now.
Let's break something.
Let's break something. What the hell?
Well, we'll finish it off kind of like Good News Week does.
The Token Skeptic Podcast is a fortnightly online interview show that takes a slightly more skeptical look at the world around us. Head to tokenskeptic.org.
Welcome to another iteration of the Palaver here on the Podunk Polymath Podcast. This week I have with me a couple of people that I enjoy talking to and have been on their show before. And I helped them out a little bit in the beginning if I do want to toot my own horn, which I do so little of. So, would you please welcome to the show the duo from... Not Another Atheist Podcast. Jen and Keith, how y'all doing?
Keith, go.
Hey. You told us just to grunt in to kind of signify that we were here, so I just kind of improv'd and I really dropped the ball on that one. So yes, I am Keith. I am the one host of Not Another Atheist Podcast, always joined by Jen, who's probably a lot louder and probably has a bigger reputation than I do, simply for her mouth.
Well, if you're going to do it big.
And I don't mean the dirty things she'll do
we
with it.
We haven't worked on that end of the reputation yet.
But I do mean the dirty words.
That end of the reputation yet, that's all.
So anyway, Jen, you have been rather outspoken in podcast past on...
That's a nice way of putting it.
Well, that's what I try to do.
That's a nice way of putting
it.
Yeah, who are you? This new show, you have a totally different attitude than we're used to. I think you've been replaced by aliens.
It's the lizard people.
I'm not seething, all right?
Son of a bitch.
I'm keeping the seething down. All right, I'm trying to keep the seething down.
It's the lizard people.
Anyway,
so you're the Zen heathen now.
So calm down. Anyway, so you have been outspoken in your shall we say dislike of a certain Hillary Clinton, and this I thought would be good opportunities to have a political episode on.
You just brought me on here just to see how much crazy shit I can say because you know this pisses.
No, actually, I try to see how much I can keep you from saying. It's kind of like a game.
Ooh.
To see how much I can rein you in.
Are you giving Keith lessons? Because this is lessons. This is something he needs lessons in.
So, I mean, of course, I also want the Canadian perspective because I don't know how y'all view politics, American politics. I'm sure you get the news.
That's a topic me and Keith have not had yet.
I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not.
Well, to be brutally honest, we like to sit up here in our lawn chairs because every once in a while it doesn't snow here up in Canada, and we'll eat popcorn while watching the shit show that is the Donald Trump election race. And in all honesty, the entire GOP race, that was hilarious. And then, of course, we realized that it actually had real world implications. And then we drank a beer and we got over that feeling.
It's too easy for Trump.
So wait. Are we like you know how you all have that one neighbor that fights all the time? The cops get called on them, and you kind of just stare out your windows or sit outside. Is America
yes, you are those neighbors
for Canadians, or are we the trailer park neighbors?
You guys totally are the neighbors.
Are we the crack house neighbors? Awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say yes. That is a perfect explanation.
That's fucking awesome. That's fantastic.
So. It's too easy to, but everybody can bust on Trump. He's a useless sack of shit. He's a neo-fascist fuckwad. Everybody knows that,
Who is $650 million in debt right now.
Which is hilarious. He's a joke. But we have to...
But he's got all the words. He's got the best words.
Yeah, he's got the best... Exactly. Best words.
Can we touch on the Central Park statue? Or, I don't know if it was Central Park, but the New York statue of Trump that was displayed this week. Have y'all heard about this?
Yeah, I heard about it. And
fantastic. Yeah. Fantastic. Literally his dick was so micro, all you saw was the little head. Oh my god, I wish you guys had the visual. I have this little cotton ball hat that I made for my nail. And I'm making the little micro head with the cotton. It's ooh. There was no shaft. It was just it was mound head. And with the red hair, I was fucking dying. I'm I seriously want to display this at my front door like a guard.
Yeah,
Chris, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. If you let her get started, she will not stop. You have to make sure you cut her off before she starts.
A little leeway here.
I named the hat Fred, by the way. This is Fred.
I do have a bit of an issue only because of the body shaming issue, and only because there are people who do look like that aren't completely.
No, but I get the whole body shaming issue. I get that, but it's the humor in it to me was the fact that it's him. And then he's talking about his hands and his dick, and now we've got, the Red Forest crotch, and it's this was masterful. This was the most... He's so about his masculinity and making America great again and conservative rights that this completely emasculated him, and that's where the fucking humor came in to me.
Yeah, that's just... I just ask people to be cognizant of that issue. That's all. Since I'm supposed to be social justice warrior man now.
Yeah, I know. I'm supposed to be the social justice warrior chick. I get it. But you know what? Sometimes this shit is just fucking funny, okay? Sometimes we all need to lighten the fuck up and it's fucking funny. All right?
Okay. Well, anyway, we'll collide over that. Hillary.
Jen, let's let him have his show.
Hillary. What? Okay, now let's... Other than the fact that you can't stand her, what are your major problems with Hillary?
The flip-flopping. It's the flip-flopping. I can't honestly sit there and say, this is what she stands for, and I know this is what she stands for, and this is what's been proven. Because she just kind of goes with this popular tide of whatever the social trend may be at this point in time. So I can't really sit there and say that there's anything that I really solidly stand with her, because she's never solidly stuck to one issue.
But don't politicians do that in general, though? And don't people in general sometimes change opinions?
They change opinions, but I have yet to see any evidence that she actually educated herself on something. It was like with the Black Lives Matter movement. She's all, I'm for the, Black Lives Matter and prison rates are bad and, you know, poverty and, you know, she's throwing out all the fucking keywords and she's doing all the pandering. And then a member of the Black Lives Matter movement who paid to be at one of her functions interrupted her and started asking her about these issues. She then threw this woman out and said, okay, now it's time to get back to the real issues.
Yes. That's problematic, extremely problematic for me. That specific issue.
You know, and I understand, you know, politicians get their money where they get their money. I get that. I understand that. But when you start looking into her foundation and you start seeing exactly who does pay her, it's really hard to feel like she would have any kind of solidarity with middle and lower class Americans, because that's not who funds her. And it's not who she's constantly kept within her circles. It's like she doesn't want to expose herself to lower income societies than her. So how can I sit here and say she understands me? She understands this community. When everything, you know, she sits and she panders with a fucking hot sauce and are playing fucking dominoes and everything else.
Oh, God, I hated that. Let me be perfectly clear. I despise her, okay? That's just off the top. I'm going to tell you.
I think she's a lot like Trump.
I'm playing devil's advocate a little bit just to try to get the other side, because if we just sit here and, like I said, bash Hillary, then it's just we're not going to, you know,
so let's list all the reasons why we don't fucking like Hillary Clinton. That's what we're just going to title the show.
These are the things I've heard kind of echoed back on why. Well, yeah, all politicians, they have to get money somehow. They have to pay. That's just the system. You know, we have to work with what we got, the system that we have, that kind of thing, which is bullshit.
It's bullshit.
And I'll tell you,
right.
I'll tell you why. A certain man whose name, what was his name? Bernie motherfucking Sanders.
Burn.
This motherfucker, and let me
and even he sold out. You know what, truth be told, though?
He did.
No, truth be told, though, Hillary probably had Jane tied up in some motherfucking basement somewhere talking about she gonna be the next one on the Clinton body count if you don't fucking endorse me. And he's like, shit, bitch got my wife, bitch got my grandkids. Let me just say what I need to say.
He was never gonna do that. I don't know. Look, I never had any illusion that he was gonna do it exactly what he did if he wasn't gonna win. He knew he wasn't gonna win. Because he's part of the establishment. Okay,
as much as he fights against it, he's still part of the machine.
Which, I mean, I'm not a super way out there conspiracy person, and I'm not necessarily saying people can be on some of this shit, because I've heard some crazy theories about shit, about them fixing during some of the primaries in some of the states, them fixing the vote counts. I don't.
Oh, I mean, it was kind of shady that where you didn't have caucuses, where you had like actual votes, the exit polls were not matching up to what the recorded votes were. And she was constantly winning those fucking elections, but when it came down to caucuses, which are harder to skew because you need physical bodies there for it, he was bringing these home consistently. But the exit polls in states that did not do a caucus were not adding up to what the votes actually stated.
I don't know. I'll be honest with you, and I never thought he really had a chance, to be honest.
I didn't at first, and then there was a point where I was like, holy shit, this
I mean, when he picked up the team, I was excited about it, but I was still like, well, because my whole thing from the beginning, it was the best we can hope for is he'll make her go left some. That was my attitude from the beginning.
But yeah, and which she kind of seems to... she's talking that game now, but
oh yeah, well,
I don't know if I can. You know, she's talking to get all these votes, but I don't feel that I can trust her enough that if she does get into office, that this is what she's going to do, or this is what she's going to try to do and work with her Congress for. Now, that's one thing I will fucking say about Donald Trump. I have no fucking question that all this shit this man is talking is going to fucking happen. like that's one thing I'll say. I'm not questioning on whether or not his views are gonna fucking happen. I mean, look who he picked for his VP.
What you say is what you see is what you get with him.
Exactly. I mean, that's one thing I'll give the dude, is that he's very upfront. And like I said, look who he picked as his VP. So all this crazy ass conservative shit that he's talking, this shit's gonna happen. We're gonna be fucking thrown back into the fucking 20s.
See, that's another thing and I'm like, okay, let's put the brakes on for a minute.
the executive branch is one of 3 co-equal branches of the government.
Right.
Okay. So, he can only do so much.
He can only do so much, but then you look at, it's not even himself, it's who he's aligning himself with. His VP pick. His VP pick, for one, and who he's starting to look at as Supreme Court justices. He's aligning himself with people that do have the power and do have the powers of persuasion and do sit in the right offices to bring it back.
Maybe. I mean, I'm not going to...
Yeah, right. But, that's one thing I will say about Trump is that I don't question whether or not he's going to try to make this shit happen.
Yeah.
He's going to.
So Hillary, so you live in Tennessee,
right?
Obviously,
right.
So, and we both do. We both live in Tennessee,
right?
Our votes don't mean shit, pretty much.
No, because we're not, the big banker states.
Because Electoral College,
right? We're not New York, Illinois, California.
We're not a swing state.
We're not swing state. Ohio.
Ohio. It comes down to Ohio. Well, I don't know. There's more swing states now than there were because Trump is doing so badly. Hell, they're starting to talk about Georgia being a fucking swing state. That's crazy.
Shit, Tennessee gonna be a swing state too. It just might fucking matter.
Nashville and Memphis ain't enough to swing it blue, unfortunately.
Then neither is Knoxville, unfortunately.
But there are some major issues I've had with Hillary, and I'm not going to lie, it's hard for me to be objective about her on a lot of levels just because I just have this thing with her that I just don't trust anything she fucking said.
It's like a snake oil vibe.
And I don't know and I have to, and part of the reason I'm going to admit that I had specifically you on here is to battle these, and I knew this was going to fucking happen. Fucking, as soon as you say anything about her, it's because she's a woman. So,
I have ovaries too. I have a vagina.
I just want
not
people to know.
A very rarely used vagina, but it's still there, and I still own one.
Well, anyway.
Hey, you wanted me on tonight.
So,
and the regret sets in.
What?
What?
I said, and the regret sets in.
No regret, no. Don't worry about that, trust me.
Oh, so you didn't want it to be like you all fucking hate her because she's a woman and, you're a dick-swinging fucking man type of deal.
Wait, you mean there are more reasons to hate her other than the fact that she's a woman? Fuck, I did not do enough research for this shit.
Yeah, you're going to have to, yeah. He's in Calgary. Yeah. I don't claim him. So.
Yeah, he doesn't live here, so he's not one of ours.
When the fuck did y'all forget what sarcasm was?
It's not us. It's the people that listen that we have to put the disclaimers out for. Because, everybody's offended in 2016.
Disclaimer, I am a sarcastic son of a bitch.
2016 is Pokemon, and let's get offended.
Oh, don't do it.
You do not talk shit about my fucking Pokemon.
Anyway,
you leave my goddamn drowsies
I'm gonna Pikachu a fucking dildo up your ass with your fucking Pokemon, okay? I am gonna take a fucking dildo and roll it into a ball, and I'm gonna throw it at your ass head first so that I can catch them fucking all that way, okay?
Are we done?
Is that supposed to be some sort of a threat?
Oh my god! Stop. Okay.
Yes,
anyway, we're talking about Hillary here.
You're the naked one, not me.
She definitely does some pegging. I don't give a shit what anyone says. Take a look at Bill. You know he is one freaky ass motherfucker. You know there is some pegging ass shit going on up in that bedroom.
Chris, look at all the shit you get to edit out.
There is some pegging ass shit going on in that bedroom. Pegging shit.
I don't. Okay, well, aside from any of that, let's just try to stick to our policies or a lack thereof. What has she actually done? Now, as a representative in New York State or a senator from New York, do you have any idea what kind of shit she did in New York?
No.
I don't know that. To be honest, I don't know what kind of shit she got done when she was a senator. Now, that's not to say she didn't do anything.
She didn't do anything that... And I was much older. Like, this wasn't like, my childhood kind of senator thing where you kind of heard about shit. No, I was older. I was like an actual adult when Hillary was senator. And there's nothing that I can remember hearing her do... anything she really did do. Like, there was nothing that was really noteworthy or newsworthy that I remember her doing.
I mean, all of it reeks of just opportunism. Which, that's not the same.
Well, that's what she did. Well, that's what she did. She saw, we were, oh, hold on, lost the mic. We had an opening coming up in New York, and she knew it. And, you know, we were kind of on shaky ground on our choices and who we thought was going to run. So she bought a house and established residence there for a year. And she didn't physically live there, but, you know, she got her mail sent there and shit. And she had some utilities set up. And she did that for the, you know, the year time so that she can run as senator. She was an opportunist about it.
That bothered me. That really bothered me.
She was an opportunist about it. She didn't really spend much time in the state at all. She didn't really come and get to know its people. And New York is extremely diverse. Like, you know, we have, you know, the crazy liberal New York City immigrant, blah, 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 whatever. But once you start getting upstate, it's a very different
they're more conservative.
They're way more conservative, and it's really kind of like living out in the Midwest. Not so much the South. They're not as conservative as the South, but it's like a Midwest kind of vibe, to where people prefer to have their guns and live on more open land and just kind of be left alone.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand.
And that is actually the bulk of the state of New York State. Is actually a very small area. The bulk of New York State are these people that live upstate, and, you know, they want a quiet life, and they farm and they hunt, and they're very conservative. And she focused all of her energy on New York City, and this is what pisses me off about New York politics, is that the city runs the state, and every fucking politician seems to think that everything that everyone wants in the city is what everything in the state, everyone in the state wants, and it's not like that. There's really no kind of balance for everyone to fully be represented in New York State. The city runs the politics.
Well, that's what happens when you have one of the largest cities in the world, I guess.
And I understand that, but, you know, I feel for the people that aren't represented for the city, because it's like their voices are not heard at all.
I mean, I can understand that. But I don't think, I don't know that she did anything. It just seemed like it was a stepping stone.
Yeah, it was a stepping stone, and it was an opportunity to put herself into the political arena.
And even before,
aside from her
running,
husband.
Yeah, now let's get into that a little bit. I mean, now there are claims like, well, you can't judge Hillary based upon what her husband did, which I don't agree with that necessarily, because she was very involved in his administration, and she, as far as I could tell, she pretty much backed everything he did, and that included dismantling what was left of Glass-Steagall, which is one of the causes of the 2008 financial collapse. So-called welfare reform, which fucked a bunch of people out of. It's a bunch of more people in poverty.
Oh, I'm sorry. She secured $21.4 billion in funding for the World Trade Center redevelopment. Like, that wasn't going to happen anyway.
Oh, yeah. And who got the money for that redevelopment?
It actually, I mean, granted, yes, the majority of it went to the Port Authority, but that's because that's who owned the grounds. Like, they physically own.
But that's something, like you said, would have been done anyway.
Right. And I will say, they actually did have a slowdown, because the metal factory up in Governor that was making the steel for the new tower actually burned down. So the business was kept within the state. They didn't really outsource it. It was kept within the state. Okay, she subsequently took a leading role in investigating the health issues faced by 9/11 first responders.
Jon Stewart was the one.
Do you fucking know what it took to get anybody talking about this?
That's true. Now, I will agree with that, because I remember Anthony Weiner, you can say what you want about him, but he was pretty...
He's one of those people that's like, oh my god, we could not have named this motherfucker any better. Like,
I know.
Self-fulfilling prophecy. Fucking love it. Love it.
I understand, it's haha, but he really was pretty... He was pretty loud in support of that, and Jon Stewart, of course, was in on that, too. They were friends or whatever. I guess they still are. I don't know. But, yeah, okay, that's easy. Yeah, I mean, I hate to say that, but that's an easy thing to... That's not easy
she was... I will give her... She really was vocal about veterans benefits and veteran support. I will give her that. And, I remember living up at Drum, and she would come and visit the base. She would come and visit the guys, and she really would ask them, like, what kind of care. And this was at the very beginning of being in Afghanistan and at the very beginning and the peak of Iraq. And she would come in and really sit down and ask these guys, like, what are we failing at medically? What are we doing that we're failing you guys? I'll give her that. But I don't know if that was more for press time, because then we had an issue here at Fort Campbell. Now, granted, this was her husband. This was during her husband's administration, where a soldier, Barry Winchell, wound up becoming involved with a transgendered woman in Nashville. He met her at Play. I think it was Play.
Oh,
it was Play, or it was the club that was before Play, which is a transgender, a drag queen performance club.
Yeah, I remember this story.
And apparently the guys in his unit didn't like it, and they beat him to death in the barracks hallway.
Yeah.
And Hillary and Bill Clinton came down and pretty much told everyone that because he would have been in violation of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, that we can't consider this a hate crime because he would have been thrown out of the military anyway.
Yeah, that's a problem.
And that they're pretty much lucky that their son's murderer is being charged at all. And then violently still both of them supported the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy after that. And this wasn't like, oh, it was 2 weeks later. No, they showed up when the fucking blood was still on the floor.
Okay. Yeah, that's problematic. I mean, like I said, there was a lot of things, and let's make sure.
I question that, if her coming up to drum and talking about supporting the troops and their families, if this was her trying to save face from that.
It could be. I mean, who's triangulation?
And I mean, I'm sorry. She's the senator of a state where these guys were literally the first boots on the ground in Afghanistan less than 24 hours after 9/11 happened. She has to, as a politician, show up there. This is one of the largest military bases in the fucking army. This is one of the most crucial ones in the fucking army. This is the fucking 10th Mountain Division. The 10th Mountain Division has done such historic shit in Afghanistan that there are fucking movies about it. There are fucking books written about this shit now. She had to, as a politician, show up. She had to. Obama showed up, Bush showed up, Biden showed up, fucking everyone ran through there.
Yeah, that's true.
But I will give her that she does kind of push for veterans benefits, but I don't see her actively doing anything about it other than asking questions and saying that she supports it.
Well, how much? Let me go ahead, Keith. You're going to say something.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Keith. I went off on a tangent. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say that kind of is a hell of a lot more than we can say the GOP did, and the fact that they shot down the veterans' rights bills that we were talking about a couple of months ago.
I know. Yeah, like I said, look, GOP sucks. I mean, I'm just going to go ahead and concede that shit right now. There's no point in even fucking talking about that, to be honest with you, to me, because that's just like, that's a circle jerk right there. I mean, for us, we're all pretty much in the same boat.
You're not into that?
Okay, it's a phrase, it's a saying. Don't get excited, Keith. Okay?
All right, here we go. We've got,
I've been excited this entire time, dude.
Two major tax cut packages introduced by President Bush, the Economic Growth and Tax Relief Reconciliation Act of 2001, and the Jobs and Growth Tax Relief Reconciliation Act of 2003, saying it was fiscally irresponsible to reopen the budget deficit.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
That the 2000 Democratic National Convention, Clinton had called for maintaining a budget surplus to pay down the national debt for future generations, which I kind of agree with. But at a fundraiser in 2004, she told a crowd of financial donors that many of you are well off enough that the tax cuts may have helped you. But that we're saying that for America to get back on track, we're probably going to cut short and not give it to you. We're going to take things away from you on behalf of the common good. So she kind of did stand up to these bankers and shit. But it also says here that her first term as senator, New York's jobless rate rose by 0.7% after a nationwide recession, which wasn't bad. The state's manufacturing sector, which is the majority of the state, lost about 170,000 jobs, which for that time wasn't bad.
Yeah, okay. So she was neutral, basically. It was a neutral impact.
I think, she didn't. New York felt the brunt of the recession like everybody else did, but we felt it a little less. than most of the country did.
But you can neither give her credit nor,
It just kind of stayed the same.
Yeah, so I don't see.
That's yeah.
So, I don't know. It's one of those things where I get that. I don't know. It's just hard for me.
Oh, wait. In 2005, she called for the FTC to investigate how hidden sex scenes showed up in the controversial video game Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Say what?
Along with Senator Joe Lieberman. Oh, God. Evan Bayh. She introduced the Family Entertainment Protection Act, intended to protect children from inappropriate content found in video games. Similar bills have been filed in such states as Michigan and Illinois, but were ruled to be unconstitutional. In July 2004 and June 2006, 6 years ago, Clinton voted against the federal marriage amendment.
Yeah, because you want kids to watch the Discovery Channel.
And, just watch the news and hear about rape, because, it's fun. In June 2004 and June 2006, so we're talking 6 years. Oh, no, wait, we're in 2016, 10 years ago. Clinton voted against the federal marriage amendment that sought to prohibit same-sex marriage. The proposed constitutional amendment fell well short of the passage on both occasions. In 2006, Clinton voted against the flag desecration amendment, which failed to pass by one vote.
She voted against the flag desecration amendment.
Earlier attempt to reach a compromise by
Wait, so just for clarification, the flag desecration thing, that's to, like, punish people who are burning flags, right?
Right. It would prohibit statutory... It would... Fuck me. God, I haven't had to read fucking congressional law in, forever. It's a proposed constitutional amendment to the United States Constitution that would allow the United States Congress to prohibit statutory and physical desecration of the flag of the United States. It's a fucking flag, people. I mean, come on, let's get off fucking...
Yes, I've never agreed with that.
Right. I mean, she's was kind of neutral in New York, and she didn't really do huge things. I mean, come on, Grand Theft Auto, that's a parenting issue. Why the fuck are you letting your kids play this shit?
That's some Tipper Gore bullshit.
That's Tipper Gore bullshit, exactly. That's Tipper Gore bullshit. I mean, she kind of is just neutral.
Okay. So she was neutral as a senator. As a first lady, what are some of the things she pushed for? What was her main thing was the health care.
Right. Which failed.
Which is a horrible failure because they tried too much to be with Congress. No. They tried to do it all. That's what it was. They tried to do it all themselves. Mm-hmm. Which Obama went the other way and tried to get Congress way too involved.
Right.
Which was a mistake. So there had to be balance. But they tried to do everything themselves without involving Congress. And I can't really fault her for that, I guess. I mean, that's just one of those things where you're not feeling. The most you can say is she didn't feel the way the winds are blowing on that, I don't think.
Right. I mean, and as far as not associating her with her husband, I mean, this isn't like, what was fucking George Bush Jr.'s wife's name? I can't think of her name. Laura.
Barbara.
This isn't like Laura who really didn't get involved. Well, she had her little projects and her little things, but she really didn't get involved. She wasn't really involved in legislation. It's like Michelle Obama, who, has her programs, but she doesn't really get involved in legislation. And she doesn't try to immerse herself in the political process. Hillary did.
Yeah.
This wasn't like this is my husband and I kind of have to put face on and show that I support him. Because I married a fucking asshole that I really do not fucking agree with 99% of his fucking views. You can't hold that against me. But I'm not out there actively pushing his views as law like she was. She was being put in charge of committees and everything else. Yeah. This isn't like, a Laura Bush situation where she's like, I'm just going to sit there and smile and be like, and...
that's why
pray
I'm not
to
willing
whatever
to give her
fucking
a pass.
God that my kid doesn't get busted with a fucking prescription pad again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why I'm not willing to give her a pass on the stuff during the Clinton, her husband's administration, because she was part of that.
She was, and she goes with what's going to keep her relevant.
And I think that's what the main thing is. Now, let's bring it forward to now. What is the kind of shit she's doing now? What is she calling for now?
Prison reform, police reform, free college, universal health care, raising the minimum wage. She's basically everything Bernie Sanders stood for. She's now on this platform.
That's my point. That's exactly my point. Now, I've heard this said, platform is bullshit. The platform doesn't mean a fucking thing. You can put anything you want on the fucking platform. The Democratic platform doesn't mean a damn thing. They're not going to do it. It's what is she actually going to do when she gets in office? And it's hard to tell.
What worries me is that I can't trust her. I can't trust to say that she can do it. That she's not. That it's not going to be. And I kind of want to say this, and I kind of feel really fucking bad saying this. But, it's kind of like an Obama thing, where, and I'll say Obama's done some good shit. He really has. And I can't really fault the man because he was handed a literal world of shit in 8 years to fix it, which wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to happen. But I see a lot of just the same old thing with her.
Yeah.
It's just, at least with Trump, we'll get some radical shit. You know what I mean? I mean, granted, it's going to be the wrong kind of radical shit, but we'll get some radical shit when it comes to Trump.
Well, you'll get some radical shit proposed. Now, whether it passes or not is a whole different story.
Well, it's like I said before, it's not him; it's who he's aligning in his cabinet and who he's choosing. That scares me.
Even then, they can only do so much without Congress. I mean, you can issue executive orders all day long.
Right, and like you said, we can't do without Congress. But look at the trend of what's going on. They have now voted Donald Trump in as a presidential candidate.
Some of them have.
Well,
there's a fucking rebellion.
The majority has. And these are the people that are going to be voting in our senators and our congressmen and our representatives. And their voice, their cause, not only has the momentum now, but the fucking ball is rolling. This is going to drive these people out into the polls for midterm elections and everything else. So they're going to start voting for people that have the same fucking views as he does. And you know what it was like when that Sanders momentum got going, people got out and voted. Trump fucking wins and they've got their fucking cause rolling, they're going to get more involved.
I don't know. What else could they really do? I mean, because this country's already so polarized as it is. Well, blue is deep blue.
What could they do? We've got
Except the Supreme Court justice.
Trump can knock in a Supreme Court justice, and fuck, we are so fucked at that point. That's like, shit, here we go. And then, they start seeing these changes that, okay, the Supreme Court is now going to strike down this, strike down that, and we're going to be battling this shit in the Supreme Court. So let's start voting in representatives that have our voice, which is now the majority. And then we're going to start ruling on fucking bills with these people.
I don't know. It's just one of those things, like, almost always, historically, the president, the president who is in charge after their first term, that next congressional election almost always goes to the opposite party.
But it's you can't question the mob mentality too.
So I don't know that I don't know. I don't want to test that theory though.
And this is my problem right now. I'm like, Hillary's a snake oil bitch, but do I want to fucking test this?
That's part of the problem. That's the issue, and I don't have an issue with strategic voting, okay? Because we have what we have. Right. And I'm not going to sit here because the Green Party thing, I'm not on board. I was kind of only because it's a protest vote, to be honest with you. But the way our system's set up right this second, there's no way in fuck we're electing a third party candidate. Not until we get someone at the local level and then build their way up. That's the only way that's going to happen.
If Sanders had decided to run on an independent and run a third party, that would have been the closest chance we had.
But it's just not going to... I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen right now.
No, Jill Stein she's not polarizing enough. She's not influential enough right now. And I think if she would have... I think she played her card wrong. If she would have aligned herself with Sanders during the primaries, I think she would have had a much better shot.
But the issue I have with any third party is there's no. I mean, I understand that it's the electoral system in general is rigged for a two-party system.
Right, it's set up for it.
But a local, it kind of has to come from the bottom up. I mean, you can't start with a presidential election and expect.
Why not?
To get a.
Why the fuck not?
I just don't. It's not going to happen.
Why not?
It's just not. It's not. Because
everyone's like, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And this is the same fucking talk that keeps people beaten down into this fucking two-party system. Because people sit here and believe it's not going to happen, so why should I try? It's not going to happen, so why should I try? Why don't you fucking try?
I would say that. Because I would say that about anybody. I would say that about Gary Johnson.
Radical, man. We have changed fucking political parties in this country before.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is you don't start from the top down. You start from the bottom up. Doing it that way is just not going to fucking work.
I think that would be the most fantastic way to fucking do it. I think that would be the absolute most fantastic way to do it. Is to just be like, fuck it, we're going to start an independent fucking party from the president and fucking work our way down from this shit and really fuck people up.
It wouldn't work. It never works. Top down shit never works.
I'm all about the radical, and I think what bothered me so much about this election is that we are now at that point where, with Obama, everyone was like, oh, we need a change. But we still had some kind of leeway. Like, maybe we don't need the change right now. We had a little push with him. We don't now. We don't have the leeway point anymore. We don't have the room.
So what are some of the things that Hillary represents in her core that you could get behind, do you think? Let's just be real about this.
I don't know what she is at her core.
I do. I mean, I have a pretty good idea what it is.
I can't sit here and say...
It's Clinton 2. It's Clinton 2.0 is all it is.
I appreciate and I do get behind the fact that, she has been very outspoken about veterans' rights and taking care of soldiers and taking care of their families. I do really back her on that. Because that's something I've consistently seen from her. That's actually something I've consistently seen from her. I haven't seen anything consistent that I could sit here and say this is who she is at her core, and this is what she believes in, and this is what she wants to back. Because this isn't like, it's not like, fucking Strom Thurmond decided to be a fucking segregationist and then learned over the course of his life that, hey, black people aren't so fucking bad. And this was like, over the course of like a 40-year period. No, you mean to tell me in the fucking last 10 years, all of a sudden now she's like for fucking gay marriage and shit and she's all fucking about it?
Yeah.
No, the bitch panders. There is absolutely nothing at her core that I can say this is what she stands for that I can back because I don't know.
I have a good idea of what it is. And like I said, it's basically fiscally conservative, socially liberal. That's pretty much what it boils down to.
But that's what I am. That is honestly what I am. I am very fiscally conservative and I am extremely social liberal. But there is nothing about her that I can say, yes, this is what she stands on and this is who she is, because she has flip-flopped and changed her fucking story so many times that I can't determine what she fucking stands for.
But she's not going to go any further right on the social policies.
She's going to go as fucking right as who pays her. And she's going to go as fucking right as as what's going to keep her standing in her party.
On social policies? Not in the Democratic Party.
I'm talking Democratic Party. No. It's, she has to be on the ball for the social issues now because this is what her party's caught up in.
That's what I'm saying.
She has to be on the ball. She has to play ball for that. But as far as who she is at her core, I don't know who she is.
Oh, well, honestly, I don't give a fuck. I don't care if she's Satan incarnate. As long as she governs a certain way, I don't give a shit what she is.
I don't trust her fiscally. I don't.
Oh, well, I don't. But see, you said you're a fiscal conservative.
In some aspects.
But she's a straight up corporatist.
I'm not a corporatist. I look at things. I believe that business needs to be pulled out of politics as far as financially.
Oh, well, yeah, I think
that's my liberal aspect of it. But I'm actually very much for like military spending, and I'm for a lot of the programs that a lot of liberals want to eradicate. I'm actually for them. I'm actually very fiscally conservative. I don't believe that we need to spend as much as we have been. Actually, no. Let me rephrase that. I don't see a problem with what we spend in the military budget. I have a problem with what we spend it on.
Okay. Well, that makes a little more sense, because buying planes that we never use.
Right. I would have no problem if we kept or even expanded the military budget if it went to shit like veterans benefits and gear for these guys and giving their families safe fucking homes to live in on post. And not privatizing the finance system, the housing system, the electric systems, not privatizing everything. I'm fine spending a lot on military.
Okay, then that's what we're talking about then.
Right.
That's what we're talking. We're talking about Clinton as, that's not even a fiscal, I guess conservative is not really the right word. It's more like privatization. She's kind of on the Republican side.
I have a big fucking problem with private moving into government. I think it should be kept separate.
That's what I'm saying, and that's what Clinton, the first one, was about, and I think she's going to keep doing the same kind of shit.
But then you also have to look at, a lot of people now, after going through the Bush years, and a lot of us now were very, very young when Clinton V1 took office, so we kind of have this skewed memory of how shit was, I guess you want to say, because we kind of didn't understand it at that point. Clinton did a lot of shit that fucked us up. And it was his cuts to the military. But we didn't know what was happening at the time. It was his cuts to the military, it was his cuts to the FBI, it was his cuts to the CIA and intelligence that fucked us on 9/11. Because, he had came out, Clinton had a fucking field day cutting the military. And, it was like his own little personal fucking origami macrame fucking project going on. And then, we cut intelligence, and then, this fucking shit happens. And then literally, I was 19, so I was just at the point where my friends were just joining the military. And they were just starting to be assigned, and they were just starting to, do the bullshit training. And then they had to scramble to find enough men to send in a certain time period, and they were pulling these fucking guys out of their houses, like completely untrained, completely unprepared, with old fucking gear, with old fucking vehicles. And the reason why they went with Fort Drum was, one, it was easiest to get them overseas because of the location, but it was the fact that they were light infantry. Light infantry means that they do not use vehicles. They walk. And they had to send them to mountainous regions, and we did not have the proper equipment, the proper vehicles to drive them through there safely because of the budget cuts that Clinton enacted. They were fucking scrambling to get these guys fucking trained. Scrambling. And put the lives of young fucking men on the line because of all the cuts we had. The fucking training went to shit. So you throw them into the fucking Hindu Kush mountains, which, fuck me, not even fucking most experienced climbers want to fucking go through. You throw them into the fucking Hindu Kush mountains and tell them to go fight a fucking enemy that's lived there their whole fucking lives. With shit training.
Yeah. That's problematic to say the least. That's an understatement.
And then we have the privatizations of the prison systems, which...
Well, that's a whole
nother subject. And then welfare reform, which was only reform for nobody, which was reform for who the fuck knows, because it just put more people on welfare. You had the privatization of the government sector and jobs, which wound up fucking the job market.
Yeah, of course.
You had Glass-Steagall, which led to the fucking collapse. And and that's why I'm like, was Bush a fucking idiot? Yeah. I love the guy. I think he's an awesome person. He did not belong in a position of power. He did not belong in a decision making.
Well, okay.
I think he's cool as a person to sit down and have a few beers with and shit. But you also have to look at everything that led up. Exactly.
And that's how he got elected.
You have to look at everything that led up to this man's administration and why it fell apart the way it did. Granted, we had no fucking reason to be in fucking Iraq. That was a big part of it. But when you look at the banking crisis, and you look at the untrained soldiers, and you looked at how fucked we were, and how much we were fucking losing guys left and right, and pushing them out, and pushing them out, and pushing them out, this wasn't shit that he fucking ruled on legislation on. This wasn't shit that his fucking Congress ruled on. This was shit that happened during Clinton. And everyone decides to go blame Bush for it, because, Bill played the saxophone and got a fucking blowjob.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So... Keith, let me ask you something.
Uh-oh.
And I'm not speaking of you specifically necessarily, but in general, how are Canadians looking at this, and how do they view Hillary? Or do they, I'm sure your papers are full of, or I would assume, I mean, since all y'all got hockey and curling and shit, I don't know what the fuck else you...
And I've noticed that other countries seem to be way more aware of what goes on in the world in other countries than we are. Because we kind of just tend to focus on ourselves.
That's true.
Like, you asked me about the Canadian government system, and I'm like, what? You have a totally fucking hot prime minister that loves everyone. That's about as far as I fucking know.
Yeah,
oh, then I could break your heart with some of the things that
I'm sure there's. Yeah, he's too perfect. But anyway,
I mean, he's still a person.
Anyway, what are the papers up there? What's kind of? Do you have the kind of a zeitgeist up there in Canada? What's going on with this whole election down here?
Well, I mean, other than hockey
and syrup,
curling, I mean, the only other thing for us to read about is, well, yeah, we use maple syrup, but that's kind of like our medicine. So, I mean, the only other thing for us to read is like American politics and stuff. No, we do hear a lot. It's actually kind of interesting because our country is so very influenced by you guys. I mean, you guys go down, we go down. You guys are up, we kind of get a bit of a trickle, and we kind of get to go up, and maybe our dollar will kind of be close enough that going to Vegas is actually worth it. And then, but otherwise, I mean, we still have access to CNN, to NBC, to Fox. I don't know what other major news outlets there are because I spend more.
There's plenty of them.
Yeah. So we still have access to all of the information, and I mean, a lot of us still, especially where I'm at, I think I'm about 3-4 hours away from the border, so we still get a lot of traffic coming our way. So I think we do get a fairly decent representation of what's going on, and it's kind of hilarious because Canadians on the whole do seem to be just as easily polarized on American politics as Americans are, and it all depends on the source that you're looking at. Just like you guys, we have our right-wing news sources, our left-wing news sources, and nothing in between because, you know, moderation is boring. Nobody finds anything interesting in that, right?
Exactly. I trust that.
You know, as it happens, I live in the province that has been, I think, affected almost the most by the downturn in the economy because of the oil industry. You know, I think we, as a province on the whole, for the longest time, we were economically the strongest province in Canada. We were paying for most of our country's budget, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I could be wrong, but we were making, I think they were called reparations. No, not reparations. Equalization payments, where basically we were making up for deficits in a bunch of other provinces.
So wait a minute. Canada paid out their reparations, but the fucking U.S. didn't? Get the fuck up out of here.
Not those kind of reparations.
You know, I'm making a fucking joke. Shit. Chill the fuck out, right? I know you're from the fucking South and you're still fucking salty and bitter about losing that shit, but chill the fuck out, alright? Alright.
Yes, Chris, tell us, what was it like to have slaves?
I'm not even from the South.
You're still from the fucking South, and we still kicked your fucking ass. So,
I'm not even from the South. I was born in Colorado, so.
Yeah, but you grew up in the South, so.
I grew up in a bunch of places. I was a military brat, so try again.
But you still got the Southern accent, so fuck you.
And what?
Fascinating.
Anyway, go on.
So oh, thank you. You're so kind. So I still hear a lot of the whole, you know, like I said, polarization of it, where I still hear people going off, you know, oh, Hitlery this or Shrillery that.
Why
and it drives me up the wall because it's
That's
really contributing.
Fabulous. I haven't heard that one.
Really? Oh, you should. I'll point you to an episode of Dogma that you got to listen to.
Oh,
that was a treat.
That guy. Yeah, what was Price? Was it Price?
That is
Richard
fantastic.
Price. Yeah. That. I was curious how the rest of that episode went because he's like, yeah, we can't do any more time for the free show on this. So if you're one of our fourth listeners, you can find out the conclusion. Yeah. I was like, God damn it. Fucking Smalley. I'm bigger than you. You should let me do this.
So you're saying it's basically as polarized up there towards the election as it is. I find that hard to believe, though. Of course, I could be wrong. I don't live up there. So,
but then again, it's like, you gotta think about it, too. Like, Americans are very fucking self-centered. We like to think we're the center of the fucking universe. Like, we are the master of the universe. But if shit was going down...
Born to the kings!
Like, if shit was going down in fucking Canada, that was at the fucking influential level that we're at, I think we would be that invested as well.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that.
You know, I mean, you have to realize, and I fucking hate to toot the horn here, America is one of, if not the most influential country in the world. And a lot of the shit that happens here financially, for better or worse, policy-wise, does kind of set the stage for everywhere else in the world. So the world does kind of have to turn its eyes on us. And it makes you fucking wonder about the rest of the world, where it's like, yo, we're only fucking 200 years old. Alright? We're, like, literally, there are fucking buildings in England that are 3 times the fucking age of our goddamn country. Why the fuck did you throw this on our shoulders? That's like looking at your 18-year-old son and going, okay, here's all the bills, you're supporting the fucking house now.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we are influential for better or for worse. I will agree with that.
You know, and when Russia was knocked off the world stage, it blew our heads up, and it kind of set us at the top.
By default, almost. But China's
the Soviet Union, I should say. Yeah, but China doesn't have the cultural influence and the cultural influence and the kind of view of the world that the Soviet Union and the United States had. They don't.
That's true.
You know, it's China's like that shady fucking loan shark in the back that's financing everyone. Oh my god, I have the perfect little segue for this. Oh my god.
What
okay.
the fuck?
Oh my god.
Oh great. Now she's going full
awesome.
Trump. Great.
It's like the guy that made the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, who just died the other day. This is why it's like a perfect segue to current events. While he had these kids out in the front and they were the 2 dominant ones, he was Svengali in the background financing it. He's China. And, he put his little front-face people out, and they're the ones that made the influence, and they're the ones that set the culture, and they're the ones that set the influence. But he's the one fucking controlling the strings in the background. That's China. And nobody really looks at him, and nobody questions, and...
I'm sure they're good with that, too. They're fine with that role.
Oh, yeah. Wouldn't you want to be?
Yeah.
You can control everything and totally not get involved in the drama? Hell yeah.
So...
It's like the ultimate in Facebook stalking.
It's true.
Yeah, it's true. So, what do we say? What's our last word on Hillary here? We have to vote. I mean, do we have to vote for her?
No.
I think there's a lot of I think there's a lot of valid criticism of Hillary, and I think it's really glossed over by a lot of misinformation. And one of the biggest misinformations that I found, and yes, I'm going to go off on this because I actually read enough about it that I might have something intelligent to say, was the case that she was assigned back in the 75, the rape of that 12-year-old.
All right.
I saw a few memes about how, she defended it and then laughed about it. And so I pulled it up, and actually there was an interesting article on Snopes about it, and how basically, she actually tried to have herself removed from the case. And she, as a lawyer, she was doing her job. She was a defender. And she actually went to the judge to have herself removed. And so I think people trying to dig into her past to find things like that and then misconstruing the data, I think they were doing a real disservice. And they're really just trying to play to the narrative that the other side is using to make us look bad.
That was taken really
And I think there might be reasons to criticize her. But
there's a lot of that going, and I expect that, to be honest.
Because I'm sorry to say it. You get any fucking lawyer out there, a good lawyer, they represent child rapists, murderers, everything else. So you can't hold that against her, especially the fact that she was that she was a legal aid attorney. They told her this is what you had to do.
That's complete bullshit.
The conversation
There's plenty of stuff.
Right. The conversation was in the context of how much of a joke that the legal system was. And it's like, like when we talk about how fucked up shit is in this country and we kind of laugh about it and we're like, yeah, you can get naked fucking strip clubs in Tennessee, but you can't buy alcohol on fucking Sundays and lotto tickets. Ha 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 ha. Like that. That's what she was talking. That's the context that she took it in as far as the loophole with the lie detector test.
Look, there's plenty of shit to get her on without having to
one of them. I'm not going to
devolve into stupid bullshit.
She was a fucking state defender. I mean, she was a legal aid defender. It was her fucking job. And I understand the fact that she had a small child at home. She had to put fucking food on her table. I get that. I can't hold that against her.
I mean, we're supposed to be skeptics, and I'm one of those people who this kind of shit like this pisses me off because it makes us look bad. It makes liberals look bad, progressives or anybody else that put these stories out here like she's coming down with Parkinson's and shit, or all kinds of weird fucking conspiracy theories and shit. whatever. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Get her on.
It's
if
true.
you're gonna criticize her on something substantive, not some shit that that fucking Breitbart put out, made up off the top of their head or whatever.
Didn't Donald Trump just hire someone from Breitbart too?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think a perfect way to summarize that is don't Gish Gallop this shit.
And I'm sorry, Gish Gallop?
I've heard that. I don't remember.
Gish Gallop is when you just spit out as much misinformation that the other person literally does not have enough time.
And then it's like,
to
okay, they want to
correct
talk about
every
her
little
having
fact you got wrong.
Possibly. Fucking JFK, who's like, oh my god, the dawn of presidents.
Oh yeah, he had Addison.
Cuba, and and he was hot, and he had the rich family.
Well, wasn't that because of incest and all that?
He had Addison's disease, which is like way fucking worse than Parkinson's disease. What I think I saw something with Dr. Drupinski that he's worried about the way her doctors are treating her because they're using like fucking old ass medication, like medieval shit, and she's had a fucking aneurysm before. Like she's had issues before with it. That I agree with, and I kind of want to look at her and be like, Hill, maybe you should start questioning your doctors about the medications they have you on because of the health risks that you have been going through with this. But it's like, oh, Parkinson's, oh, strokes, and I'm like, yo, fucking JFK had Addison's, dude. And he's your, like, Adonis.
Yes, yeah.
Like, this man couldn't even fucking walk most days.
Yeah, that's true. We had a president that couldn't walk, literally.
FDR, like, literally fucking couldn't walk. And they fucking tout him like the fucking second coming.
Yeah, no.
I'm personally a Teddy Roosevelt chick. He was probably my favorite out of, like, any of the presidents. It was Teddy. I love Teddy.
Good. Thanks.
Well, because he didn't play the politics game. There was some shit that he was conservative about. There was some shit that he was liberal about.
I know.
And yeah, he was a Republican, but there were many times he went against his own party and was like, "Fuck you! What's wrong with you? This shit is wrong. Why the fuck are you?" Yeah,
but Lincoln was a Republican too.
That was during a time when the Republican Party was very different. Then
that was just shows like the way that the parties have
exactly. The
switched
Republican
sides.
Party was actually the Democratic Party at some point in time, and the Democrats back to KKK.
and the Democrats
back to KKK. But Teddy would look at his own party and be like, "This is fucking bullshit. I don't believe in it," and go off on his own thing. And I admire the man for that.
Yeah,
and that's what I want to see again. I want to see, one, we need a fucking president with a beard again. God damn it. When the fuck, Teddy was the last motherfucker with a beard, okay? Teddy was the last motherfucker with a beard. Have you noticed how shit this country went after that? Because we need a motherfucker with a beard.
I'm not running. So
I want to see that again. I want to see someone that
I don't think she's asking you. I think she's telling you.
I want to see another candidate like that doesn't play the fucking party line and says, look, there's some shit that I agree with these people with. There's some shit. It shows that they think. And it shows.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
He really looked at people in his country and said, I don't agree with what my party is doing because I think that is not taking care of the people in my fucking country properly.
Yes.
Granted, the man wasn't a saint.
The problem is with that, though, is how people identify themselves as their party lines. They don't identify as their individual opinions as, themselves. They identify as, well, I'm a Democrat and I have to always go with Democrat.
They're independent. It makes it sound like the bastard fucking emo children that hang out at Spencer's during the Electoral College. You know what I mean? Like,
that's what happened in the two-party system, though, unfortunately. That's the handwritten.
I'm like, fuck a party. I'm like, fuck parties. Fuck parties. Let's just have candidates.
Yeah, that's...
Fuck a political affiliation. Fuck a party. Let's just
Wouldn't it be nice?
Candidates and say, okay, what do you believe in? Okay, that sounds cool to me. Let's vote for you. I don't give a shit if we have a fucking 15 presidential fucking candidates at one time. I would rather have that than the fucking parties.
Yeah, so would I, actually. That would be good.
And I think we should like a battle royale. I think we should Hunger Games this shit, and whoever fucking comes out alive, boom, you run the country for 4 years. I think it's great.
So anyway, okay, to kind of wrap this up, Hillary, she's not the worst person in the fucking universe, obviously. I have problems with voting for her personally, but my opinion is if you live in a swing state and you have to vote for Hillary. That's just my opinion. If you live in a state that's red or blue pretty solidly, frankly,
it really doesn't matter.
Yeah. It really doesn't matter. So that's just my opinion on it. Jen, would you agree with that pretty much? Or?
For the most part, but I think I don't like the scare tactics. I don't like, because I don't fall for that shit. That's an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
You know, it's like an abusive relationship to me. I would personally like to see people, everyone in the country, just stay home and not vote. And just watch the system be like, what the fuck? You know, just be like...
Well, most people don't anyway, so it doesn't really
No,
matter.
but like everybody. Like everybody. Like nobody. Like they go to fucking count votes and there is fucking none anywhere. None. Nobody. Fuck it. Fuck it. We're just not voting this year.
That would be pretty...
Like, I am for a team, let's fucking sit this shit out and really fuck with people. Like, no, you're not gonna fucking scare us to push us for the two-party system. We're just not gonna vote today. And then they go to count the votes and it's just like 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And then it's like, alright, now what the fuck? What happens? Is there a procedure for that?
I don't know.
If nobody votes, is there a fucking procedure?
Well, if there's a tie, it goes to the House of Representatives. So if it's a 0 tie, they would go to the House of Representatives.
Yeah, but the fucking country would literally revolt if nobody fucking voted and the House of Representatives picked somebody. Like, the country would fucking revolt.
No, it would not. Don't fool yourself.
Like,
eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Exactly.
Catch a
Like,
tiger
so
by the
how do
toe.
they even determine that if it's a 0?
I just told you, if it's a 0 tie, it's technically
No, but
a tie.
like the House of Representatives could look at like, okay, it might be 10 more votes, but it's still 10 more votes at like say it was like 57,504,000, and then the other person got 57,514,000. That would still kind of put them at like a level even 50-50. But there would still be those 10 extra votes that they could say, okay, look, this was a majority, there's 10 extra votes. If there is fucking 0, 0, 0, like fucking nobody, everyone's like, where the fuck do they pick this shit? How do they even start? Where do they go from this? It's like, what, do we just
it would break along party lines. It would break along party lines.
Can we just pick new ones and start over again? I like that plan a lot better.
That's not how this works. That's not how the
We'll just kind of keep Obama there for a little bit and be like, look, we got some shit to work out.
Oh, God, they love that, yeah. The third term! No, they'd love that. Anyways,
he's coming for your guns!
Yeah.
Run!
And meanwhile...
Hide your kids, hide your... Oh, sorry, that's
meanwhile, in Canada, they're getting maple syrup stolen. But anyway...
But doesn't, like, who we vote in, like, affect
20
Canada's
fucking thousand
like, economy
tons.
and shit, too?
Well, yeah, they're our biggest trading partner.
Yeah.
I think. Or at least one of them. So, yeah, I would think it would affect them. Don't you? Isn't that true? Yeah.
Greatly.
So.
You know what? Who am I voting for? Moving.
To quote
That's what I'm
Qui-Gon
voting
Jinn
for.
from The Phantom Menace, we form a symbiotic relationship. What happens to one of us will surely affect the other.
Well, who are you for? Are you for...
Shut up, it was Liam Neeson.
I'm
He's
voting
badass.
for moving. That's who I'm voting for.
Okay, well...
I'm voting for moving.
Keith, who are you for? I mean, you can't vote, obviously, but who would you... I mean, that's a stupid question, obviously, but I'm assuming you would rather Hillary win, but it's still the kind of a shitty bag, or whatever, you know. It's a shit bag, I guess. Shit sandwich.
It's funny. I'm going to preface my answer by explaining this. We had our election last year, and a friend I was talking to, she's a poli-sci major, even though she's a flight attendant. And her and I were kind of discussing it, and she goes, in all honesty, this election is really just about picking your favorite STI.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way your election can be summed up, too. Don't get me wrong. I know which one I'd rather, because Jill Stein is so vehemently anti-science.
No, she's really not.
She spouts
She's really
so
fucking
much
not.
dogmatic
She's a fucking
bullshit.
doctor. She's a fucking doctor. She's not completely anti-science.
She's spouted anti-vaccine bullshit.
She's not spouting anti-vaccine bullshit. What she turned around and said was she believes that vaccines work. She just has a fucking problem with the fact that private companies are fucking ruling the FDA. That's what she fucking said. She's never turned around and said that vaccines don't work. She never said that she was against vaccines. Everyone is.
But she left it purposely vague to pander to those freaks out in California. I'm sorry, she did.
And that, to me, is
no. She straight
dangerous.
out said that she supports vaccinations and that she thinks that that's
something said. Okay. She's also gone on about this whole Wi-Fi.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry.
Pulling Wi-Fi out of elementaries.
Crazy.
That tells me that she is just somebody who is probably not somebody you
that's
want
where you're like, wait, you're a doctor,
your country.
Right. And then that's like, yes, world stage.
Yeah.
This is exactly what we're dealing with our medical system.
Anyway.
Yeah. And so, yeah, she's kind of written herself off. Trump, it goes without saying that he is better off being explained as Zap Brannigan, which we actually talked about in our most recent episode.
Oh, no. Nobody wants that guy except libertarians. Forget Gary Jones, no.
Oh, that's right, too. He's a libertarian. Yeah, no thanks. So, yeah, unfortunately, it does seem like Hillary is the only one that, it's
unlike
the one that's at least most treatable.
Unlike Eli Bosnick, we are going
don't
to...
make me fight with Eli. Please don't
We're going to reluctantly endorse Hillary Clinton.
Well, it's basically it. It's
I'd
rather have Hillary because she's chlamydia and I can cure that than Donald Trump who's, herpes and I can't get rid of that.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Can you get in touch with Eli and have an Eli versus Jen debate?
No, I really like Eli. Like, I really like Eli.
Prank war.
Eli, I love you, and I love you. In, like, a total platonic way.
See, but he can have so many... He can have
that's
disagreements.
Fine. No, it's going to be funny.
He's so good at having disagreements with people.
Anyway,
Eli, they're trying to pit us against each other. Do you see this? Eli? Do you see what they're doing?
He's on his honeymoon right now. Leave him alone.
This is internet radio. You can it doesn't just disappear after the first fucking time.
Anyway... Where can we, listeners, find your show? Let's ask that.
That's usually Keith's. Yeah.
The Ninth Circle of Hell.
Not Another Atheist. You can find us on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher. Are we on Google Play yet? Did we clear that up? Okay.
Yes.
Google Play. Not Another Atheist Podcast. Keith. I am on Twitter as insomnia_mama. Keith is on Twitter as... Wait, what the fuck is your handle again? I just typed
Why was he atheist?
It's an atheist NYYC at an atheist NYYC.
Yeah, I just type out your fucking name and it just pops up.
Probably not the most entertaining thing.
We have the whole Not Another Atheist Podcast.wordpress.com, yada yada yada. Yeah. Facebook. We have a Facebook page that I always fucking forget about. Facebook is Not Another Atheist Podcast on Facebook. Our shit is there. Yeah.
Yeah, so go check them out on all the locations there aforementioned, and I will put them in the show notes, of course. But I wanted to thank y'all for coming on. I know it's kind of late.
No, thank you.
It's been a long time coming. I said I would do this when I was on UTBB, and I never did, so I feel bad about that. So I thought you should be one of the first.
We had you on. You didn't have us on. That's right.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, this was recently.
Right. That's right.
All right.
Fuckhead.
He's turning over a new leaf, and he's being kind.
There's still fucking mold on the ground where he turns it over, so I mean, don't fucking blow smoke up his ass too much, alright?
Okay, anyway. So lovely. Such a lovely woman. Anyway, so thanks for coming on, and hopefully we'll get together again soon for another good time.
They're gonna make me,
thank you for having us.
This is so fucked up. Can somebody volunteer as tribute? Anybody? I'm blonde. I'm tiny like Prim. Can somebody please be my Katniss?
Oh my God! Just stop. Just please stop.
It's okay. Eli's vegan. He won't eat you.
That's cute.
Will anybody eat me at this point? Like, will anybody?
Chris, wrap this up before Jen turns this into another Tinder profile.
Y'all take it easy. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks for having us.
That'll do it for another episode of the Podunk Polymath Podcast. I want to thank Jen and Keith from Not Another Atheist Podcast for joining me this week on the palaver. You can find them at notanother.atheistpodcast.wordpress.com. Also at notanother.atheistpodcast.podbean.com. They're on Facebook at /notanother.atheistpodcast. Jen is on Twitter as Insomnia Mama, and Keith is on Twitter at an atheist in YYC. Of course, you can check them out on all the regular places where you find podcasts. iTunes, Stitcher, and your favorite podcatcher. Of course, if you want to support my show, you can check me out on patreon.com/the Podunk Polymath. I'm on Facebook at /the Podunk Polymath. On Twitter at Podunk Polymath. The PodunkPolymath.com, of course, is the regular webpage. And you can call in 615-378-POPO, which is 7676. And you can donate, of course. That's on the page as well if you feel so inclined to give me some money, which who wouldn't really? So until next time, I hope you'll have a joyous week until the next episode. Y'all take it easy, okay?